chapter 12, verse 14. This day will be for you for a memorial. And you will celebrate it as a festival to God for your generations. Hey, hey. How you doing? All right. So this day, we're on chapter 12, verse 14. This day will be for you for a memorial. And you'll celebrate it as a festival to God for all your generations. An eternal statute, you shall celebrate it. So, chapter 12, verse 14. The zikaron, for remembrance, with dorot, for all generations. V'chagotemoto, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to God. Rashi says, Yom Shu l'chol zikaron atachol gago. A day which is a remembrance for you. V'adayin lo shamanu ezel yom zikaron. We don't know what day it is. Says the verse, Zachor hayom asher yatzatem. Remember the day which you departed. V'manu sheyom hayitzia v'yom shel zikaron. The day of the departure was the day of the remembrance. Ve'eze yom yatzu. What day did they leave? Says the verse, Mimacharata Pesach yatzu. The day after Pesach they left. Haveomer yom chamisha asar b'Nisan. The 15th day of Nisan, that's the day of the festival. Kusha yom tov. Shareilel chamisha asar achuat Pesach. The night before the 15th, they ate the Pesach. Boker yatzu, and they left in the morning. I guess, or they left. I don't think they left in the morning. I think they left at
high
midnight.
Noon. No.
At high noon they left?
It's a Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh. That's one of the 3 times that
Right.
Rashi said that about the Mabul, right?
Right. Yeah. So this will be for you, Udorot Techem, for your future generations. So Shomeani Miut Torot Shneim, I might think for 2 generations. So the first, Lukato Am Techagu. You shall celebrate as an eternal statue. Verse 15. Shivat Yamim Matzot Tochelu. 7, and we're going to daven mincha upstairs so we can enjoy the new memorial plaques and the beautiful parocha, which is not finished because the issue is the Ner Tamid is too high. We're going to lower it 16 inches, but I am very proud of it. So if you don't like it, then I would suggest faking it. And also, I also suggest that if you like it, you send we'll talk about it afterwards. The verse states, Shivat Yamim Matzot Tochelu, 7 days you shall eat the matzot. Ach b'yom harishon, but on the first day, Tashbisu Seor mibatechem, you have to get rid of all the Seor. What's Seor? Seor is leaven. It's like sourdough. You have to get rid of all of it from your homes. Kikol Ochel Chametz. Hello there, everybody. I hope everybody's okay with the fact that I'd like to daven mincha upstairs today because I want to enjoy the new parochet. Now the parochet is not finished; it's all up, but the ner tamid has to be lowered 16 inches. So just bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Also bear in mind if you don't like it, I say fake it because I like it, and you'll crush me. No, don't keep your mouth shut. Fake it. Make believe you like it. So okay, so it says. So the verse says, we're reading chapter 12, verse 14. 7 days you shall eat matzot, but on the first day you shall destroy all the leaven, because whoever eats chametz, and his soul will be cut off from Israel from the first to the 7th day. So what does Rashi say? 7 days. Shtaina shal yamim. This is a shtaina. What does shtaina mean? This is the French word "satine" means 7. French word "satine" means 7. Shavat yamim matzot tocheu. 7 days you shall eat matzot. But makom acher, but another another place says sheish yamim tochal matzot. 6-day period you shall eat matzot. We made al shvi shal Pesach. This teaches us that the 7th day of Pesach she'eno chova lechol matzah. It's not an obligation to eat the matzah. Bavat shlo yochol chametz, but you can't, as long as you don't eat chametz on the 7th day, you're not obligated to eat matzah. Minayin av shisha reshut. How do we know that the other 6 days also discretionary? Says the verse, Shivat Yamim. The Zumida b'Torah. This is a principle in the Torah. Davar shayibachal v'yatzam and akal lamed lo lamed al atzmo v'yatza lamed al akal kul yatza. So therefore, it's the general principle that if there's something part of a general rule and then it's separated, it's not just it, but the whole rest of the rule as well. Ma'ashvi rishus avshisha rishus. So just like the 7th is discretionary to eat matzah, also the 6th day. Yachol afalayla rishon rishut. I might think also the first night is optional. Says the verse, ba'erev tochlu matzot. In the night you shall eat matzot. Hakatuv kavo chova. So the first night is obligatory, and the rest 6 days of Pesach are discretionary to eat the matzah. But many great Hasidic masters understood, yeah, it's discretionary, but if you do eat the matzah, you're still going to get a mitzvah. You're just not obligated to eat it. And so therefore, they took upon themselves to eat as much matzah as possible. Maybe eating 20, 30 pounds of matzah because they say every time you took a bite, it was a tremendous mitzvah. Not everybody holds like that. Others say, no, eat as little as possible because the concern is maybe it's chametz. Because every time you take matzah, maybe it wasn't made right. So it's the two approaches. So the first time I saw the Hasidic idea that you're supposed to eat as much matzah as possible, I tried to eat as much matzah as possible and I got sick. So now I don't do that anymore. I get so sick, but I had, let's just say it was not comfortable. It was not comfortable. So then it says, yeah. On the first day, you should get rid of the saor. Saor is, they didn't have, how did they make their bread? How did they make their bread? How did they make their bread? Well, no, how did they get their yeast? They didn't sell packets, which in the store, Fleischmann's yeast. So how did they get their yeast? That's what you need to destroy from your homes, this saor. Saor is, they used to have a starter dough, like a leaven, a startering agent, like a sourdough. So they had to get rid of that from their home. So they didn't only have to get rid of the bread, but they also had to get rid of the sourdough starter, the starter dough. So the Erev Yom Tov, the Karoi Rishon Ufisha Ufnei Hashiva. So when it says that you have to get rid of the saor on the first day, what is that first day, Rashi's telling us? What does this first day mean? What day is that? What? Rashi's saying it's not that. Rashi says, May Erev Yom Tov. You have to get rid of it even the day before the 15th, which is the eve of the festival, the 14th. So why is it called the first day? It's because it comes even before the 7th days. And we find from here that which precedes is called the first. Rishon Adam Tivaleid. Were you born first to Adam? Halafnei Adam Noladata. Oh, Einu Ela Rishon Shel Shiva. Maybe it means the first of the 7 days of the festival. Says the verse, Lo Tishchat al Chametz. Meaning to say, Lo Tishchat al Pesach Vadayin Chametz. Kayam. You're not allowed to slaughter the Pesach while you still have Chametz. So at what point do you have to get rid of the chametz, according to the Torah? What's the point? At what point? When the time comes to slaughter the Pesach, which is the afternoon.
The 9th hour, right?
No, not the 9th. You could slaughter the Pesach from the 6th hour.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I believe it's the 6th. It might be the 7th, but the 6th, right? Right. I think it's the 6th. Right when you are allowed to bring the mincha, the carbon Pesach. So, but today, rabbinically, we proceed it and say you have to get rid of it even by the 5th hour, and you can't eat it even by the 4th hour because maybe it's you might come to mess up. Okay. Hello, my dear friends. Our friend Kobe was arranging for me to speak. Wow, we weren't even expecting you, Moshe. We thought you were working in a coffee shop this afternoon, but you came here. So Kobe's arranging for me to speak in the high school, and the administrator interviewed me today. Wanted to make sure, Kobe said he wanted to make sure I wasn't anti, let's just say certain aspects. He wanted to make sure I was open-minded. So, about, like I wasn't going to come in and spew hate. I would bring Jews and Muslims together. I wouldn't be anti people's identities. Well, then he said, "Is this a radical?" And he showed. He started looking me up, and he got a little nervous. I think.
I did too. I got really nervous.
Okay. All righty. Okay, so then it's we go on. So he says a nefesh. We're in chapter 12, verse 15. Verse 15. I don't know what page is it. What? The Chumash. Oh, Exodus. Shemot. Elon. Shemot.
Yeah.
Chapter 12, verse 15. Yeah. You got it? What page is it? 340 what? 345. So now the pasuk says, that the one who eats it, that soul will be cut off. If you eat chametz, your soul will be cut off. When it's intentional, pratal honest. But if you're forced to eat the chametz, you're not cut off. Mi Yisrael. So you're cut off from Israel. I might think, I might think, okay, cut off from Israel, go to another nation, the Japanese, for example. That's the verse milfanai, but kol makom sherishuti. Any place I have dominion. Okay, we're on chapter 12, verse 16. Ubayom harishon, you have the place? And on the first day of the holiday, we're talking about which holiday are we reading about, Moshe? Which holiday are we reading about? Pesach, right. So on the first day, Mikra Kodesh will be a holiday. Ubayom HaShvi, and on the 7th day, Mikra Kodesh will be a holiday. Yelachem. Kol melacha lo ya'aseh behem. You shall not do any work. Ach asher yeyachel chol nefesh hu levado ya'asechem. The only type of work you're allowed to do is things you need to do in order to eat. That you're allowed to do. So on Yom Tif, you're allowed to cook. You're not allowed to cook on Shabbos, but you're allowed to cook on Yom Tif. So let's see what Rashi says. Mikra Kodesh, it's a holy day. Mikra Shem Devar. The word Mikra is a noun. Karauto Kodesh. Rachila Ushtia Uchsus. It's called holy with respect to eating and drinking and dress. Lo Yaseh Bahem. It shall not be done on them. Afilu al yidei acherim. You can't have any work done even by others. Hu levado, but you can eat. V'lo machshirav. Okay, so you're allowed to make food on Yom Tif. So what about, for example, can you make a knife so that you could slaughter the animal? So that's what Rashi says. You cannot do the preparations that can be done on the eve of the festival. That you can't do. You can't do the preparations that can be done on the eve of the festival. Okay. Yes, Jerry, you had a question?
Yes. It says, no work shall be done even through the agency of others. Does that mean you can't use the Shabbos goy on Pesach to start the ovens going, turn on the lights, etc.?
So you're not allowed to do a non-Jew to do your work for you, but to cook, you're allowed to do it yourself. But nowadays, it's very complicated with these ovens. So the Starkey has a whole thing, but it's not a simple question. It has to be done in the right way. So I don't want to just give a blanket answer, Jerry, but it's a very precise question. And when we come before the next holiday, if you want to discuss it with me, we'll discuss it, because it depends upon what and how and the exact situation. But yeah, it's complicated. It's very complicated to cook nowadays on Yom Tif because a lot of these ovens automatically the fan goes on when you open it, or the oven shut off after 12 hours. So you have to get a Shabbos mode. It's not simple. Okay. And you can cook or call nefesh. You can make food for any soul, afilu behema, even for an animal. This is another complicated. This is not woke. Don't tell this to your administrator who interviewed me today. On Yontif, you're allowed to cook for a Jew and for an animal, but you can't cook for the non-Jews. Says the verse, lachem, for you, but not for non-Jews. Meaning to say that you can only cook for the Jews on Yontif.
Animal.
And your animals, because you are obligated to provide food for your animals.
What if you have a non-Jewish slave?
Then you're in your home and you could cook for them. Thank you, Ivan. For all of eternity now, YouTube will have that answer. Okay, good job. Okay.
And slaves are definitely woke, right?
Right? Yeah. So the Torah knows about slavery, but we saw the passage in the Talmud this week there. Rabbi Gamliel was so overjoyed when he had to release his slave. Now we have to the next verse. Ushmartem es hamatzos. You have to guard your matzos. Ki be'etzem hayom hazeh hotzeti et tzivotechem eretz Mitzrayim. Because in the middle of this day, I led your forces out of Egypt. Ushmartem et hayom hazeh odorotechem, and you shall guard this day for your generations in eternal law. Chukat olam. Okay, shmartem es matzot. You have to guard your matzot. How so? What does it mean to guard your matzot? You have to make sure that they don't become leavened. Yeah, how do you guard your matzah from? What does it mean become leavened? Do you know what that means, Kobe?
No. It becomes matzah.
No, if it becomes leavened, you don't want it to become leavened.
That's like
rising, right?
Yeah.
So, like when you make dough, has anybody here ever made bread? When you make dough, the bread rises. So you have to hold the flour in the water. If it's just left by itself, it'll rise a little bit because there's natural yeast in the air. It won't rise and look like the challah that you make for a Shabbos Kodesh, but it'll rise a little bit. So how do you prevent it from rising? That you have to watch it. What do? You're supposed to be moving it the whole time. And from here, the rabbi said, tafach, if the dough was swelling up, tiltosh bitzonin. What you have to do is you shall smooth it over with cold water. That's one of the ways of preventing it from rising. You smooth it with cold water. Okay, that is not something we do today at all anymore. Once we mix the flour with the water, that first time, we don't add anything to it. In fact, when they make the matzah today, they have a special water room. The water is in a different room, and they have a little hole which they pour it in. Now, this is one of my favorite teachings. Rabbi Yoshaya said, Alti kores hamatzos, don't read it as guard the matzos, ella es ha mitzvos, guard the mitzvos. Kederach she'im machmitzin es hamatzos, just like we don't allow the matzos to become leavened, kach ein machmitzin es hamitzvos. We also don't allow the mitzvos to become leavened. If a mitzvah comes to your opportunity, asay osa miyad, Elon. If you have the opportunity to do a mitzvah, do it immediately. Let me ask you this question. Let's say this is a question that comes a lot. It's a scenario, but I'll give you an extreme example. There was a guy in prison, and they said to him, "You can leave the prison one day a year to daven."
Yeah.
So the question is, what day should he leave? Should he go for Yom Kippur? Should he go for Pesach? What day should he go for Purim? What's the one day a year he should leave to daven, the prison?
Yom Kippur, maybe?
I would say the very next day or that day. Go right away. We don't want to waste the opportunity to do the mitzvah.
I don't mean the holy day to daven.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. But in my mind, you do it right away. The guy might die before Yom Kippur, and then he'll have lost the opportunity to daven. Or maybe there'll be a nuclear war and the prison will explode. Meaning to say, if you have the opportunity to do the mitzvah, don't wait for a better mitzvah. You know what I'm saying? Like there's another opportunity. There's a question they had. I forgot who they asked it to.
Let's double down and go for Yom Kippur. I hear where you're coming from.
Take the rest.
Rashi thinks you should do it right away, but I do like going for the big money.
Right. No, that's the whole idea. It's a question. It's a dispute between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. You see, what I'm saying is, if you go out that day and you daven, you can daven that Hashem can help you daven on Yom Kippur. So you have the opportunity. So basically the story is like this: that there was once. Okay, first I'll tell you the Gemara is a dispute between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. If it's a Wednesday and you find a beautiful piece of fish or a beautiful piece of meat, and then you have the question: should you eat it right away or should you save it for Shabbos? So Shammai says save it for Shabbos, and Hillel says eat it right away because you'll find a better one before Shabbos. Or also we have the opportunity,
Spoiled that thing.
or whatever, like you could smoke it. So or else we have another question. There was a person who said there was a guy he was in a leper colony, and if you go into the leper colony, whatever you bring in, you can't bring out. So the question is, should he bring his tefillin in, knowing that he can put on his tefillin, but they won't be able to come out? These are the opportunities that, do you look at the mitzvah right away?
And they'll burn
or
it.
do you, what?
And they'll burn it. So that's completely disrespectful to.
But on the other hand, he's going to be in there for a week or two and use it. Yeah. I'm just saying that these are the ways. How do you look at the mitzvah? Do you look at it immediate, or do you look at it like strategic planning?
Aren't there you can to do every single day? Couldn't you do a mitzvah every single day? Some things people do.
Right. Well, that's the question. Do you look at it as whatever's first, or do you strategically plan? So it's, on the one hand, yeah, there's nothing to compare. For praying on Yom Kippur is spiritually the most impactful day to pray. On the other hand, what are you going to wait? You're going to wait 3 months to pray?
That's my birthday. Yom Kippur.
Wow.
Yeah.
Moshe.
Yeah.
Just keep dropping. You keep dropping fire today. We're proud of you.
Yeah.
Okay, Moshe. You
Going on? What am I
Moshe
say?
dropped fire. He dropped fire. Ushmartem at next Rashi. So Rashi says, if you have the opportunity, we don't do a mitzvah. And you have the opportunity, do it immediately. Okay, this comes to me. I get this a lot with people. I sometimes say, hey, you want to come and daven or learn with us today? They said, I could come any day. I could come one day this week. Which day should I come? I always say right away. For 2 reasons. One is this Rashi. 2, once they come, I can always ask them again. Like that, right? Always accept, and then you can go back. What do you lose?
Exactly.
Okay, that works for many things in life. Just keep that in mind. Keep that logic in mind. It says, "Ushmartem es hayom hazeh," you shall guard this day mimelacha, from doing work. Okay, what happens now? Wadoro sechem chukas olam. So why does it say this for your generations? The generations and statutes were not said about work, but rather about the festival, the Chagiga celebration. This was a special korban. Now it says it here about the festival. So we have to say that you can't do any work for all future generations. Okay. Barishon, Barba Asar, on the first day of the 14th month, Yom HaChodesh, Ba'erev, in the evening, Tochum Matzos. So on the 14th day at night, meaning to say after the 14th day, you have to eat matzot ad Yom HaEchad ve'esrim HaChodesh Ba'erev, until the 21st day at night. What does Rashi say? Ad Yom HaEchad ve'esrim, until by the way, I don't even understand this.
You can work on patient.
What?
You can work on holiday.
No, you can work on the intermediary days, certain types of work.
Said any work should not be done with non-sacred, no generations, only for the generation of revolution. It doesn't apply to us.
What?
I'm reading Rashi here. Yes, 17.
Okay, no, 18.
So,
No. From the first verse, meaning to say, if it hadn't repeated it, you might have thought it didn't apply for all future generations. So repeats it here to teach us for all generations, you can't do work in those days. That's why you might have thought that unless it repeated it.
Not nice. Okay.
Okay, Shiva. Okay. Until the 21st day and night, Lama Nemar, Valuk Far Nemar. It's already repeated. Shivat Yamim. Fisha Nemar Yamim. It already says days. Lelos Minayim. How do we know nights? Says the verse. Ad Yoma Echad Be'esrim. Until the 21st day. Shivat Yamim Sorlo Yimatzev Batechem. 7 days you shall not find leaven in your homes. Kikol Opal Machmetzes. Whoever eats leaven will be cut off from the community of Israel, Bager Bazrach Arts, the foreigner and the citizen. Nobody can eat the bread on Pesach. So this is a very important point. So what does the Rashi say? That you can't eat it. How do we know not only in your house, but anywhere you can't eat it? Says the verse, this mitzvah of not eating chametz on Pesach merited. A lot of mitzvahs don't have mazel, but this mitzvah has mazel. There are some people, Ari Goldman wrote a book about strange practices that people do. I don't know if you read this book. He says there's some people, they make sure they eat matzah on Pesach, even if they're completely secular. They'll even eat their ham sandwich on the matzah. That's what he said, because, people are so connected to the matzah. Right. You heard of that, Jeff, right?
I heard all sorts of strange things about people. That's an equivalent.
Like when people are connected to certain aspects of the Torah, but not to others. And one of the mitzvos that really had mazel that people do it is Pesach. People, even if they're so far removed, they never go to synagogue, they never had a bar mitzvah, they'll want to have a Seder. So therefore, why am I saying this to everybody? It's also an opportunity for all of us. If there's a Jew out there who we know we have one shot to get them, I would say best is to invite them to a Seder. That's your opportunity. That's your opportunity. That's your best opportunity because they're open. And even if everybody wants a Seder invitation. That somebody offered me this last week. They said, "Do you want to lead a Pesach group to?" He's putting together a place in Nicaragua. I said, "It's not for me, but people like to go for Pesach. People like to go for opportunities."
Then they don't have to worry about their house.
What?
So they don't. Then they don't worry about their house. They leave it. They don't worry about the dishes.
No, but it's not only that. They want to go for a vacation to have some time together. All right, let's go daven. Let's go daven mincha upstairs. I'll stop here.